and the word is out that someone special is in town. The paparazzi spring into action, and Britain's most popular export receives a very Italian welcome. Diana's reputation as a fashion leader gives her a high profile in a country addicted to style. As guest of honor at a charity dinner and fashion show arranged by the Italian designer CATRINA, Diana combines two of her main interests, charity work and clothes. Well aware of just how much the right outfit can help her good causes, after 15 years on the world stage, she's achieved legendary status as a crowd puller. London's Knightsbridge, home to one of Britain's top fashion designers, Jacques AZAGURY has been designing for the Princess of Wales since the early 80s. Costing around £2,000, embroidered and beaded evening dresses are his speciality. Diana chose to wear one of these eye-catching creations on the night her revealing interview for Panorama was televised, and she knew all eyes would be on her. The dress was a statement.
The first time she wore it was the night of her now very famous interview. It was just basically saying, you know, this is me, I feel really confident, this is the way I look, and here I am. And she chose that dress, I think, really because it's a very stunning dress. It's very, very simple in line, but I think it says enough by the way, by the way it's cut. It had a very low neckline. It was quite bare. It was figure hugging. Just looked great on the princess.
A few weeks later, she wore the same dress to receive a humanitarian award in New York. Its low-cut style with made-to-measure bodice uplifting her 36B figure again caused a sensation.
It's a very fashionable look at the moment. The low, all the supermodels are wearing it, and it's a statement of the moment to have that very low cleavage and the straps. It's not just because she's Princess Diana and she's going to be in front of 100 men. It's just a fashion statement, I would say, as opposed to anything else. She has a great confidence about her. You know, it's like, here I am, I'm feeling great, I'm looking great, and it all comes through the clothes, and you can see through the choice of clothing that she's choosing these days. That's exactly what, what she's portraying and obviously feeling inside herself.
Visiting Venice in 1995, Diana dared to show more leg in another AZAGURY dress.
I'd say she's very adventurous. For instance, the red dress that we made for her for Venice was covered worldwide, and the news was how short her skirt was. And it was very, very short by princess standards. But she actually, that's how she wanted to wear it, and that's the way she did wear it. And of course, it looked great that way. It was a red hand-beaded fabric. It was a bugle bead, which has a great weight to it. It hangs very well. And that's basically why we needed to do such a simple shape, because the fabric was enough in itself, and with the princess in it, you didn't really need any more.
All of the cougar heights. But you want to come through.
AZAGURY has been dressing Britain's rich and famous for more than 10 years, but Diana's patronage has taken his business worldwide. He's well aware of her power.
She's chosen one of my dresses for that function. It is very exciting when you think she has the whole world at her feet. For myself, it's really opened up many doors in many countries, and particularly in the States and in Europe. By the princess wearing one of my dresses, it has actually made my name known to people who would never otherwise have heard of my name.
It was in Florence in 1985 that Diana first wore one of AZAGURY's designs for a public occasion. On this, her first visit to Italy, the striking velvet and organza evening dress signposted a growing sophistication in her fashion sense. A young, unworldly princess was coming of age.
I think that was her first move towards something slightly more tailored and something, I would say, slightly more international on the fashion level. At the same time that she was wearing that, she was still wearing that sort of very full ball gown, the frilly off the shoulders. She's gone from a very young Diana that used to wear clothes that would shroud her body and actually cover her body, to now where she's probably one of the most sophisticated, beautiful women in the world, wearing much more fitted clothes, much more revealing clothes, which actually kind of project a much more confident Diana than of 10 years ago.
Back then, the new uncertain Princess of Wales almost came unstuck during her first official evening function. Someone should have warned Diana that such an unstructured, low-cut evening dress would create problems. But by then, it was too late. She would have to learn the hard way, as the press had already homed in.
They love that, don't they? Seeing a bit of something they shouldn't see. That I think people think about that, especially someone who's been once burnt, like by getting out of a car and then their pictures all over whatever newspaper.
High cameras were able to expose a very unroyal amount of cleavage. It was a lesson Diana never forgot. Anyone in the limelight must dress with the utmost care.
The next time when they're going for a dress, they will, hopefully, I mean, they've got to be stupid if they don't think about it the second time around, but I think they would say, oh, well, let me see what it's like to get up and out.
Yet when she first started, Diana's main worry was that the sloppy jumpers of a kindergarten teacher were useless. For her new public role, she had to build a wardrobe from scratch. Her county set background showed in her choices.
Well, there were two influences, I guess. One was obviously the circle of friends that she mixed in, and the other was actually what was fashionable at the time. That sort of set that she moved in was very much into sort of neck things, you know, frilly hair and little kind of cravat things, and rather sort of... we hadn't hit the suits yet, because the rest of the very high fashion world was in amongst the Japanese at this point. We were all wearing black with sort of, you know, things, holes pulled out of it and so on and so forth. It would have been totally unsuitable for the Princess of Wales. She obviously then started to look at what she actually did look like, and she felt, well, maybe I could, you know, have a bit more neck showing and so on and so forth. So nowadays, when she absolutely, I mean, she doesn't, you know, she's just so confident that it doesn't make any difference. So the difference is extraordinary from that, you know, sort of chin down with was clothed, and now it's sort of wonderfully, and sort of she just feels comfortable in anything she wears.
By the mid-80s, Diana's more mature, uncluttered style was already established. She'd become the ultimate fashion icon, intent on promoting British designers. Bruce Oldfield helped her develop a new evening look.
Bruce was the first person, I think, really to introduce her to a kind of swathed, more sort of glamorous, film starry sort of look. I mean, she did have those dresses before, but they were much more the sort of bustier with the big skirt. And Bruce tended to make them kind of slinky and rather wonderful and sort of gathered and with a kind of thing here. So I think he freed her and made her aware that she could perhaps, you know, be a bit more shapely with the evening clothes rather than just wear the classic hunting, shooting, fishing ball dress that you tend to get. So I think he probably pushed her in that direction quite fast.
Diana resurrected the British millinery industry when hats became an integral part of her look.
She wears them so beautifully now, and I think in the early stages she wore them in the way English women wear hats to weddings, plonked on the head with the veil pulled over, or the fluff, the feather. And she, in very, very, very fast, we found her wearing them where they should be worn, which is across here. I mean, despite the fact that the photographers probably couldn't get into the eyes or couldn't see anything, but she really, almost immediately, maybe 2 years into being the Princess of Wales and having to wear a lot of hats, she suddenly realised she had to wear them the way they should be worn. Because she has great shoulders and terrific posture, she looks marvellous with those, you know, very broad hats. And once you wear those hats, you actually begin to like wearing them. She really does look like, you know, she could be a Vogue cover wearing those hats, because she wears them properly, and she wears them with the right outfits, which is terribly important.
The right outfit costs money. From her engagement in 1981, Diana's clothes are estimated to have cost over £10,000 a month, totalling over £1 million during a 9-year period. Now, with the higher cost of clothes, that's increased to £1.25 million for her present wardrobe. All this doesn't include what she spends on maintaining a model's figure.
Now, for a silhouette, a narrow silhouette, you need to be slim. And so, of course, she had to work at slimming down. So there's been the swimming at Buckingham Palace in that pool. She's done that very religiously, swum a tremendous amount. The gym, she now has a personal trainer coming to her the whole time. She spends a very great deal of money, if you like to look at it in financial terms, on the infrastructure. That's what I'd call it. We're not talking about the makeup here, although she's been wearing increasingly quite a lot of makeup. But we're not talking about cosmetics. We're talking about the foundations here.
Charles's private income from the Duchy of Cornwall bankrolled her image building. This witty Catherine Walker suit would have cost around £2,500.
The way she can wear those dinner suits. She wore this one with what's called a trompe-l'oeil. It's a kind of fake waistcoat at the front, fake vest. And it was so trim and neat and very smart, and yet at the same time it's sort of funny. It's a take on menswear. It's also a joke on those stuffed shirts that British men have to wear on official occasions. It's a tremendous fun outfit, her looking at her best.
Knowing she looks her best has given Diana increased confidence.
Have you noticed with Diana how her skirt, her hemline and her shoe heels have gone up now that she feels more independent and better about herself? Those Jimmy shoes she wore, a young British designer who makes lively shoes, quite expensive. They cost £250, nearly $500 a pair. But they give Diana the right kind of look. Slightly sexy, isn't it? And something that makes her look like an independent young woman.
The key to Diana's rise as a fashion icon is her relationship with the shy and reclusive designer Catherine Walker. French-born and, like Diana, 5 foot 10 inches tall, she's the only designer not to have gone out of favour in 15 years.
The Princess of Wales, once she was married, realised that she was going to get so much attention, she needed to perhaps be guided, and I think she turned to the editor of Vogue for some advice as to who she could go to. And Catherine Walker's name came up, and that's how it all began.
By 1989, Diana's Catherine Walker streamlined look was firmly established, but this beaded evening gown for a visit to Hong Kong was a new high. At around £5,000, Diana had supreme comfort and elegance.
One thing that Catherine always manages to do is to disguise the intricacy of the tailoring. And when you put it on, something to do with the lining, which invariably is wonderful soft silk satin, it feels like it won't move. You have total confidence when you wear something. And it's like a work of art. It's like a sculpture in itself. You actually get terribly excited about wearing it for the first time. This will, whatever mood she might be in, however depressed she might be, however exhausted she might be, she puts that gown on. She has the high collar. She looks distinguished, almost all, without having to add any jewellery and have her hair done and her makeup.
Another foreign tour success was India in 1992. Again, Catherine Walker came up with something unexpected, elegant and utterly appropriate. Her meticulous research and attention to detail is renowned.
Catherine absorbs the environment, the surroundings. She will probably have looked at pictures and books of India and the places that the princess was likely to visit and designed outfits that would actually not clash, but that would somehow blend and enhance the surroundings and the settings. And there's no doubt that India is a very exotic place. It's full of colour. There is a sense of willowy glamour. It's colour, but it's simple. And if you look at the architecture behind her, there's an immense detail. It's very detailed and, if you like, jewel encrusted. That's the feeling you get from the Taj Mahal. If you look at the princess sitting there in all simplicity, she's wearing 3 colours, which is quite difficult. I mean, you wouldn't normally put an outfit together with 3 blocks of colour. But in this instance, it works because you're surrounded by detail, and therefore she looks perfect.
On a visit to Pakistan without Charles, Diana made an impact as a royal ambassador in her own right. As usual, for this official tour, the Foreign Office and taxpayer footed the bill, which included this Catherine Walker evening dress costing around £2,500. Diana carried it off to perfection.
I think she has a very strong sense of self. She's developed it over the years with Catherine's help, I think, as well. She would probably have known that she's going to a country where a lot of people may not have seen a princess in real life before, and therefore she's enhancing that image. I think if ever there was a dream princess in people's minds, it has to be Princess Diana, and that is the dress that you would want to be seen in. It's light, it's pale pink, and it's romantic. It's every little girl's dream.
Diana's wardrobe is now vast. When stored, her dresses span the width of 10 average terraced houses, and she has a 7-foot rack just for white blouses. But she does revamp and recycle. Here, the dress worn in Pakistan is seen again at a royal variety performance.
She's been known to wear the same outfits to a wedding and a function. I don't think she has a problem with that, as long as she knows that she feels comfortable and elegant. I think really what matters is wearing an outfit that is designed to give you maximum confidence so that you're never aware even of a shifting waistline or a shoulder that's slightly off or a split at the back that reveals too much. And that really comes down to the tailoring. That's the secret.
On her wedding day, Diana's dress did not live up to these exacting standards of design, but in all the euphoria surrounding the occasion, few noticed. Optimism about this fairy tale princess marrying her Prince Charming was rife, as 700 million people watched what was billed as the wedding of the century.
Lady Diana Spencer's wedding day was really extraordinary in that never, I think, kind of the anticipation been so great, the pressure. I mean, the people were crowded round television sets, even if they weren't in the streets at the time. And everybody wanted to know what this girl, and she was a girl, she was extremely shy, extremely nervous, extremely young. We wanted to know what she was going to wear. And so it was a kind of extraordinary event of this young girl getting out of this carriage, and the dress kept on coming. I mean, the train kept on coming. One was absolutely amazed.
The silk taffeta dress with its 25-foot train was designed by David and Elizabeth Emanuel. It was not a success.
I was sitting immediately behind the royal family, and I remember looking down the aisle as she came through the door and sort of gathered herself with her bridesmaids and so on. And, I mean, everybody was rushing round in panic because this dress was completely crumpled like a piece of tissue paper. It looked as if it had never been ironed. It got fantastically crushed in the carriage, which was a problem that nobody had anticipated. And that must have been really, well, horrid for her in a way on this very, very special day with all these other pressures.
Diana seemed unconcerned on her way back to the reception at Buckingham Palace, but she still had to contend with further dress problems. An open carriage is not an ideal way of transporting a large wedding dress with a train.
Most of them are very itchy on the inside too, and then you're squashed in this carriage and then you're trying to get out, and then if the fabric's not coming, I'm surprised she didn't just rip it off. And why they didn't give her a detachable train that then she could take off when she's finished walking up the aisle, which the majority of wedding dresses that we shoot are and do have detachable trains. Why they didn't do that seemed kind of cruel. It was a bit as if she was badly advised and as if people thought, yes, you're so young that we will stick you in this dress that really a little girl would look very cute going to a party in, stick a long train onto it, and then send you down a red rug. I wonder actually how much say she had in it, whether she was completely bulldozed into something that was appropriate and very classic, and this is what you're supposed to wear, and she, said okay. But my personal theory is that Camilla took her shopping for a wedding dress anyway and chose the one that would look most horrible on her.
4 years later, in 1985, Diana and Charles were in Italy for an official tour. It was a huge success, with the Italians turning out in their thousands. Public perception of them as the golden fairy tale couple was still unsullied. But in reality, the fact that the crowds were always more interested in seeing a glamorous princess than a middle-aged prince was rubbing salt in the wound of Charles's dented ego and adding to their estrangement behind the scenes. Their happy double act was a sham. They were merely playing roles for the sake of their audience. Charles, used to centre stage, couldn't cope with the constant adulation of his wife. It set the seal on an already rocky marriage.
When Diana came along, she usurped Prince Charles in terms of popularity. The public turned out to see her, not to see him, and he was deeply irritated by this. He was offended, he would complain about it. He was, I think, actually at the bottom of his heart, very angry about it.
Charles found his thunder stolen yet again on the night his television profile was aired in June 1994. Despite admitting his adultery, it was Diana who got most front-page coverage. She chose that particular night to arrive at the Serpentine Gallery in a stunning outfit by Christina Stambolian, an off-the-peg impulse buy which had lain hidden in her private wardrobe for 3 years. Diana knew exactly what she was doing.
You can guarantee that if there is some grand royal occasion, that the day before, Diana will do something which guarantees the headlines. It happens every time, and once will be a coincidence, but after 10 or 12 years of it, It's by design. She knows exactly what she's doing. She is deliberately upstaging Prince Charles, her husband.
But as Princess Margaret, Lord Snowdon and their daughter Sarah arrive for the family wedding of Lord David Linley, they needn't have had any fears that Diana would try and upstage the bride. Diana knew exactly what was appropriate. Catherine Walker supplied an outfit of understated elegance.
She turned up wearing a kind of dove blue jacket and cream skirt and cream and dove blue hat. I mean, it was a very quiet color. I mean, she could have, I suppose, come more quiet and soft yellow or something, but the blue looks very beautiful on her with her eyes, and still it was very subdued, and I don't think it was inappropriate or drew attention away from the bride whatsoever. It's a completely correct outfit for a wedding.
In contrast, the actress Raquel Welch wasn't so thoughtful.
She showed up to her son's wedding and completely drew attention away from her daughter-in-law-to-be because she wore an incredibly wide-brimmed hat and this very tight, sexy skirt, and no one was looking at the bride because everyone was looking at her, and she was loving it. So, glad she's not my mom.
Diana now faces life as the first divorced Princess of Wales in history, a semi-detached royal, mother to a future king, but stripped of her Royal Highness standing. In her Panorama interview, she stated that she wanted to forge a new, useful role as a world ambassador for Britain, like her visit to Nepal for the Red Cross. To do that, she knows that where her clothes once attracted the media, her work must now catch the headlines. By sticking to simple classics, she's already doing that.
She needs to feel that people are going to take her seriously, first of all. She's there to carry out a job, be it as a carer visiting a hospital or somebody walking around. She is here on business. She needs to feel that nothing is going to detract from that. Even though she needs to create an impact, nothing must detract from the job that she's doing. She doesn't want to be seen as a fashion victim, clearly. She is a trendsetter. She has a lot to live up to. She's set a lot of precedents and some real showstoppers along the way, but she never would want to be seen as somebody who was falling victim to everybody else's influence. She has to be there, if you like, ahead of the pack and keep classical. And I think her role and the regal side to her job actually keeps that in check.
Something else that will keep extravagance in check will be her reduced income as the ex-wife of Prince Charles. The divorce settlement of around £17 million will give her the apparently huge income of £500,000 a year, but when compared to the annual £1.25 million she used to receive from Charles's Duchy of Cornwall funds, she's taken a big cut. From now on, she'll have to watch what she spends and perhaps buy more off the peg, even if it is a Jackie Kennedy-style suit by Versace, costing around £2,500. However she spends her money, Diana will continue to attract the world's attention wherever she goes.
She is a superstar, and wherever she goes, people want to see her, and governments will welcome her. They will lay on banquets for her. They will create, if you like, state occasions around her. And maybe we won't see what the press have thrived on in the last few years, which is the war of the Waleses. They will actually come to see that she has a role to fulfill, which is quite separate from that of the Prince of Wales. But at the same time, there will be no fighting, there will be no infighting. In fact, if you like, it will be splitting the two, and maybe it's a great service to this country and she can still go on being an ambassadress abroad.